I have vivid, if questionable, memories of my college years. A dozen nights or so spent drinking that seemed to have lasted twice as long as the hours would allow, filled with odd experiences, meeting new, unusual people, and passing through their stories as they passed through mine. Minor dramas would unfold and close, some in my presence, and others only permitting me to participate in part of the story as I exchanged with people that I struggle to remember now. The Night is Short, Walk On Girl is a story about drinking. It's a story about drink, celebratory, consolatory, and medicinal. The story centers around a man and his crush, but a dozen other characters and their stories pass through theirs, crossing, interacting, combining, and dividing. The novel's story is divided into 4 consecutive stories across multiple months, while the film feels like and presents itself as if it is contained within a single night. Short some minor simplification and reworking, both stories are nearly identical. An unnamed college student following an unnamed classmate who he is in love with, looking for an opportunity to profess his admiration. She sees his constant casual interaction as coincidence, being in the same place at the same time, while it is anything but. The perspective changes frequently between his story chasing her and her story meeting others, drinking profusely without becoming drunk, and following adventure, doing anything but thinking about falling in love. We start with a night of drinking on a busy street, crossing in and out of stories of others and their exploits. We meet many of the stereotypes of drinkers that you might meet on a night out. The carefree youth, a lovesick man, the jaded old pervert, a freeloading philosopher, the aggressive drunk woman. Then we meet many of the same characters at a used book fair, then a school festival, and finally a rash of illness, probably brought on by everyone and their lowered immune systems, that only the unnamed woman is immune, much as she is immune to becoming overdrunk. Several drinks, be they alcoholic or medicinal, are displayed as mythical and powerful, whether their purpose be for bringing joy or curing ailments. It definitely made me Google fake electric brandy in hopes that it's a real thing. It is. This is a story that stylizes and exaggerates everything, from scenery to action, and that includes its drinks. The stereotype of anime making food look delicious is certainly not disproven here. While the book will spend entire pages describing a scene or building a character's idiosyncrasies, the film translates that into animation, dialing what might otherwise be grounded scenes and actions into quirky, charming extreme. It is faithful to the vibe of the book, something that is odd to translate from a work of literature to image. It creates a strange but familiar world through small details that are introduced and repeated, making them familiar and normal despite how peculiar they are. A criticism I might anticipate for a story about a man spending an entire book chasing after a woman is that it posits his efforts as admirable rather than unsettling. But the story does a few things that subvert this well-known trope. Firstly, he changes. In the novel, as she realizes that she never spent time thinking about dating, he spends his fever dreaming during illness, realizing that his interest may be more selfish, a series of acts to delay finding personal growth and happiness than true affection. Secondly, compared to other stories I can think of where a true misreading of the narrative may make a questionable protagonist appear admirable, most of his effort is spent finding the right opportunity to speak to her. When they finally do interact more than in passing, while all their exploits may have been outrageous and wild, he instead asks her out for coffee. It's the same story that we know, without the malice. On that idea, the film adds a malicious dissatisfaction to the main protagonist's actions, Rihaku, a wealthy and powerful man who is cared for in the third act by the girl. In the film, this is shown as what changes his perspective, while the book works hard to make him out as not quite the monster that he's shown as in the film. In that way, the book has no true antagonist outside of circumstance. Even the director of the student festival, who chases many of our heroes around the school, says he's doing it because he has to, and treats it more like a tiring game than anything. The story's about youth, depicting the watches of the youngest characters as ticking away as they should, while the oldest spin drastically faster. It feels like a long night drinking, making friends, and letting adventure catch you or pass you by purely by chance. If you like this video, please like and subscribe and follow us on social media. We'll see you in the next one.